The story begins with Incrid, a soldier demoted to the squad captain of one of the lowest ranked groups in the barracks. He had no special powers and had reached his position through sheer determination and training. Incrid dreamed of becoming a knight, but his hopes were shattered when he was killed on the battlefield. Instead of staying dead, Incrid found himself waking up on the morning of the day he was killed as if it had all been a dream. As the day repeated itself, he was killed again in the same manner, stabbed through the throat. This cycle of death and rebirth continued, and it took him 17 deaths to realize that this wasn't a dream but a nightmare he was trapped in. On his 17th death, as his life flashed before his eyes, Incrid wondered if he could have changed his fate by wielding his sword with more effort or by training harder. At that moment, everything went dark, and he found himself in a dark void with a mysterious creature. The creature asked him if he truly believed he could have changed his fate. It told him to struggle and, once he was done, to give up because he couldn't cross the wall ahead of him. Incrid woke up once again on that fateful morning. As he walked out of his squad's tent, he began to reflect on his past. He remembered his early days, learning swordsmanship from a retired mercenary who had come to his village by chance. The mercenary had told him he could become a knight, a statement that ignited Incrid's dreams of becoming a warrior who could slay thousands and change the course of battles. His dream drove Incrid to leave his village and join a mercenary corps. However, he soon realized that his talent was not extraordinary. Nevertheless, he continued to push himself, believing that hard work and time would make him a knight. This hope was crushed when a 12-year-old child who had been learning swordsmanship for only 6 months defeated him in a duel. Incrid refused to give up. He continued to train hard, hoping to become an experienced soldier if not a knight. In the present day, before his death, Incrid instructed Jackson, one of his squad members, to do the early morning rotation. He then asked Rem, a tough squad member, to teach him the heart of the beast again. Rem mockingly reminded him of his previous failure, but Incrid was determined to learn. As the battle between Nalilia and Aspen raged on, Incrid kept dying and reliving the same day. Despite learning the heart of the beast each day, he couldn't avoid the fatal sword. On his 21st cycle, filled with confidence and knowledge of the battlefield, Incrid dodged a spear that was meant to kill him, saved a comrade from an arrow, and defeated an enemy soldier. When he finally faced the soldier who had repeatedly killed him, he remembered Rim's advice to keep his eyes open in dangerous situations and not to be easily agitated. The enemy soldier charged at him again, but this time, Incrid opened his eyes and embraced his fear. Determined, he dodged the soldier's stab and, with adrenaline pumping, swung his sword. However, the enemy recovered quickly and stabbed Incrid through the neck again. In the dark void, the creature once more urged him to give up and board the boat, but Incrid, with fire in his eyes, refused. Upon waking up the next morning, Incrid vowed to move forward. He had managed to see the tip of the soldier's sword and was now resolute that this time, he would kill him. On his 33rd attempt, Incrid can now see the enemy's sword clearly and manages to dodge it. However, the enemy soldier is too fast, and he stabs Incrid through the throat. As he falls to the ground, his pendant is cut off and falls beside him. This triggers a memory of his time as a mercenary when he helped subjugate monsters in a poor village. The villagers gave him the pendant, claiming it would grant him his greatest desire. In the present, Incrid wonders if the pendant is causing the day to repeat, giving him the chance to become a knight. The soldier approaches Incrid, saying he must be in pain, and offers to show mercy by stabbing him again. As the day resets, Incrid and Rem continue practicing the heart of the beast. Rem notices a change in Incrid and asks how he suddenly became so skilled. Incrid replies that he has been training, but Rem is skeptical, insisting that his family's secret technique cannot be learned so fast. Incrid suggests maybe he learned it from someone else and asks Rem for one more spar. Rem agrees. During their sparring session, Rem asks how long Incrid will keep dodging his attacks. Rem keeps pushing Incrid back until Incrid gets into a position to attack. As Incrid lunges to stab Rem deflects the attack, causing Incrid's sword to spin away. Incrid realizes that he just tried to imitate the bastard soldier stab, and Rem compliments him, saying the stab he just performed is the most decent one yet but needs more impact. Rem tells Incrid that he doubts himself too much and shouldn't lose his grip on his sword, or else he'll be a dead meat. This advice made Incrid realize that the difference between him and the soldier stab is confidence in his sword. He learned he must stab with the intent to kill, so he kept training and dying, losing to Rem in a spar. After the 111th attempt, he continued dying and losing to Rem. Finally, on the 124th attempt, he was able to deflect Rem's attack and win the spar. This caught Rem's attention. He asked Incrid if he's crazy, saying his hands were worn out with blood gushing out, and why is he laughing like a madman? Incrid thought to himself, finally he has mastered the soldier stab with a dreadful expression. After winning the spar against Rem, Incrid faces off against the enemy soldier once again, charging for his first stab with full intent, but unfortunately Incrid's attack is blocked by the the soldier's helmet. The soldier swiftly retaliates, stabbing Incrid through the neck. As Incrid falls to the ground, the enemy soldier steps on him, taunting, "You look like you're suffering," preparing to finish Incrid off. The enemy is taken aback when Incrid says, "Tomorrow, you're going to die." The soldier retorts, "The dead don't have tomorrows," and ends Incrid's life. The day resets. This time, Incrid asks a red-haired soldier for shin armor, a shield, and a dagger, promising to pay later. The red-haired soldier responds, "I don't do favors, but since you're the boss, I'll make an exception." Rem, overhearing, asks if the squad commander is usually this pushy, to which Jackson replies, "You are always pushes tasks onto him." Rem threatens Jackson with his axes. Wondering why Incrid is acting strangely today, Incrid continues to practice his stabs on a tree, determined to surpass the wall in front of him. As the time for battle arrives, he gears up with his new equipment and leads his squad onto the battlefield. Remembering each way he died, Incrid prevents them from happening again. Finally, he confronts the soldier who has killed him 123 times. Both take their positions. The soldier charges, and Incrid blocks his attack with his shield, which shatters. Dropping the shield, Incrid realizes that merely dodging and stabbing won't win, so he charges toward the enemy and blocks the enemy's sword with his own, catching the soldier off guard. Incrid follows with a headbutt and kicks sand into the soldier's face, blinding him momentarily. As Incrid charges to finish him off, the soldier attempts to retaliate with a stab, but Incrid dodges it. The soldier follows with another quick attack, but Incrid anticipates it. Their swords clash powerfully, breaking the enemy's blade. Suddenly, an archer shoots an arrow at Incrid. Just as the arrow is about to hit, an axe flies through the air, shattering it. Incrid seizes the moment and stabs the soldier. As the soldier kneels, bleeding, Incrid declares, "This is mercy," and decapitates him, finally overcoming the wall. However, Incrid is abruptly kicked hard from behind by an unknown creature, sending him to the ground in agony. His screams alert his squad, who rush to his aid, discovering the creature an enormous frog. Incrid, screaming in pain, struggles to comprehend this new threat as his squad members rally to save him. As Incrid lies on the ground in pain, the frogman gazes at him and says, "I took my time to train that soldier. How did a weakened person like you kill him?" The frogman charges to finish Incrid off, but Rem blocks his attack. The two begin an intense battle. As Rem engages the frogman, a soldier tries to stab Incrid, but Jackson swiftly decapitates the attacker. Rem and the frogman face each other, weapons ready. Rem says, "If you want to kill the squad commander, you'll need my permission first." The frogman replies, "How is a weakling like him the squad commander and not you?" Rem ponders that the only way to defeat the frogman is to either burn him with magic or pierce his heart in one strike. Meanwhile, the frogman thinks that for someone trivial like Rem to be on this battlefield, he must be willing to put his life on the line. The frogman drops his guard and walks away, saying, "This battle isn't worth it." Jackson piggybacks the unconscious Incrid, running back to their base. More enemy soldiers appear, but the remaining squad members protect Jackson and Incrid. Eventually, the enemy soldiers call for a retreat. As Incrid closes his eyes, he finds himself in a dark void again. A creature tells him, "You managed to survive today. That is it. You won't be able to withstand the walls that will keep appearing. Your fate is to despair and give up." Incrid stands, saying, "For me, the walls exist to be overcome." The creature replies, "I'll be waiting eagerly for the moment when your eyes are filled with greed and ambition and completely lose their light." Incrid wakes up in the infirmary tent. Rem tells him he's been sleeping for 2 days straight and that he saved him from the frogman. Incrid holds his chest, feeling pain, and thinks to himself, "Was that really a frog at the end? It's amazing I survived." Rem tells him he doesn't have any broken bones, but the doctor said his head is shaken up badly. Rem asks Incrid if he remembers his best friend. Incrid replies, "I never said we were best friends. You're a noble hunter." Rem quickly covers his mouth and tells him to shut up, saying, "It's a secret. Just because you don't have anything to do with it doesn't mean you should blurt it out." Incrid asks if Rem is someone he has something to do with or if they are best friends. Later, the red-haired soldier named Cray tells Incrid he owes him 3 times the amount for the gear, asking if Incrid knows how much he spent. Incrid thinks, no wonder a regular soldier like him was able to get in here. He asks Cray why he was nowhere to be found in the battle, but Cray quickly changes the topic, saying he'll give him a special discount. In the evening, Jackson walks into the tent and gives Incrid a medicine, telling him to apply it twice a day, morning and evening, before leaving. Incrid is surprised to find that it is an ointment Jackson used, and who isn't the type to share personal items, has given him. Later, Auden visits, crying and praying for Incrid, who tells him to go since he's not dead. That night, as Incrid lies in bed, he wonders why his squad members are taking shifts when they usually do whatever they want. He wonders if they are worried about him. As he closes his eyes, Rania, one of the squad members, walks into the tent and asks why he is there, then walks out. Incrid thinks there is no way Rania is worried about him since he only cares about himself. The next morning, Incrid scans the infirmary tent and notices only 2 other soldiers, the platoon commander from another company and a soldier whose name he doesn't know, who just stares into space. Incrid wonders if he is a low-ranking soldier soldier. Then an elf dressed as a knight walks into the tent and asks, "Who is the commander of the 444th Company?" Incrid replies, "I am."